Last week we spoke in more detail the differences between the menorah of the temple and our menorah of exile, and in a way how our exilic menorah, the menorah that we light, is in a way greater, that it has both more candles. In the menorah in the temple had 7, we have 8, 9. The menorah in the temple they started burning before sunset into night, and it also burnt a little in the morning. Ours burns only at night. Also, the one in the temple remained indoors, was in a enclosed room with no openings except for a sky roof. Whereas our menorahs we light at the windows, or some like Lubavitch has public menorahs even that's about shining it outward. So this is also showing how our light is our menorah is able to shine even places where the temple menorah was not able to, and it's in fact it also explains again that we're empowered to bring light to even places that are more dark than even other times in history. I just want to make a little connection on this point with the Parsha, and then we could go back, if we ever, to the Torah reading of this week, go back, which is again, the story of our Torah portion is Yosef is in Egypt. That also is that Yosef was empowered, that even though Egypt, which was the spiritually darkest place in the world then, was known as Ervat Saaretz, the shame of all land. And so there Yosef was able to do his outreach work. He was able to bring his Yosef light. And not only that, he was able to save from the 7 years, going from the 7 fat years of plenty, the 7 years of famine. It was because of Yosef that he was able to collect all the grain in the 7th year, which is brought down in Kabbalah, was gathering the sparks from even in the darkness to be used in times of when it's really dark. And not only that, as our Parsha also goes, in that Yosef gave birth to 2 children, Menashe and Ephraim, in Egypt, the darkest place. Yosef himself was already born in Canaan, which was Israel. So it makes it, okay, he was there. He was empowered by his father Jacob. And he was taught like in the Holy Land and all that. And then he was sent out. Like there's Lubavitch Shluchim, there's emissaries that they're raised in the Hasidic community. Then they go out to very far-flung communities to continue what they're doing. But then there's even greater, the children of Yosef, Menashe and Ephraim, who were born in Egypt itself. But yet they kept maintained, and they did the holy work where they were, to bring light, even in places where the light was forgotten. The name Menashe means to be forgotten, because Yosef named Menashe because Neshani Elikim, the Beis Lavi, that I forgot already from my father's household, which doesn't mean that Yosef forgot about his great father Yaakov. It means that Yosef had to forget that spiritual comfort zone of being raised in the tent of Yaakov, which was all holy Torah, and had to reinvent himself almost, and how he could deal with dark places of darkness like Egypt, and find a new form of bringing the light even in places like that, and in the ways of Ephraim, which also means plentifulness and greatness. All right, so in that respect, Chanukah is connected to our Parsha. How else is Chanukah connected to our Parsha? Another interesting thing is what our Parsha begins with the Torah portion of the 2 dreams of Pharaoh, right? One dream of the 7 lean cows swallowing up the 7 fat cows, and the other of the 7 short or emaciated or thin stalks swallowing the 7 fat healthy stalks, right? The 7 dry stalks. What's that? What does that remind you of? It's also, to me, it has a little echo of Chanukah also, of like we just mentioned, the weak conquered over the strong, right? That was that's what the Maccabim, the Chashmonaim also. And even though we were lean, maybe physically and soft or vulnerable, but still we were able to swallow up even those that were hefty and what have you. So there's that connection, and and ultimately, and also that it's as it's brought down in Chassidus, even that the two dreams of Pharaoh were not, because if it wasn't just that there was this, like the message seems redundant, that they're both saying that the lean will or the impoverished, will take over, meaning the famine, but really it's the reason why there was a dream of cows and then a dream of wheat is showing that Yosef had an influence from humans, Pharaoh, the Egyptians, into the kingdom into the animal kingdom, right? And like the cows and what have you. But then even lower to the great low, which is the vegetative state. So it was unlike the dreams of Joseph from last week's portion, which started with the stalks bending of the brothers, bending to the bundle of, right? The bundles of wheat, bending to Yosef's bundle. And that was on earth. And then the next dream was of the stars and the moon bowing or gravitating around the sun, Yosef, which is going from bottom up. Pharaoh's dreams was going from up down, from animals to vegetation, which was what was Yosef was doing too. He was bringing the light, the holiness, working to as down the spiritual chain as possible, or the physical levels, to bring the holiness and light to the most level. So that's the connection of our parsha. I'll give you another connection of the parsha. That our parsha begins by Miketz. That was the end of 2 years. Shnasayim Yamim. Okay. So in the area of Shnasayim Yamim, so I'm just going because I have some things put up. I just wanted to share with everyone. This part, what we're going to be talking about, is going to have more Hebrew and references and such like that. So my apologies to those that still have more Hebrew to brush up on or concepts, and may this be an encouragement. And even those that didn't get a solid Jewish background in Hebrew, that to encourage to learn to get to learn more in these areas. Okay, so here, okay, so this is from the words of our parish. The opening words are Vahi Miketz Nasayim Yamim. Nasayim means 2 Yamim days, but means 2 years. It means that Yosef was in prison because he wouldn't sleep with the wife of Potiphar. So he was in prison for 10 years. Then at the end of last week's portion was when he encountered the head of the drinks and the head baker, and he prepared the drinks for them. And he asked that the head of the baker to remember when he goes out. He forgot. Basically, Yosef stayed 2 more years in prison for a total of 12. So this week's parsha says that at the end of the 2 years, then Pharaoh had the dreams. So it says in the holy books that the word Shnasayim, Shin Nun Taf Yud Mem, is an acronym for the following words, if you see here on the screen. Shmoel Ner Tadlik Yamin Mezuzah. That you light the candles meaning the candles of Chanukah on the left side of the doorpost, and the mezuzah on the right side of the doorpost. In fact, the very beginning of our tonight's program, it was just me and Aaron on. Aaron asked me about the connection with mezuzah. I'm just showing you, Aaron, that you see this word Shnasayim already manifest, shows the interaction of mezuzah and menorah, and which we spoke about before. There's more on the elements of the parsha. I just wanted to sneak it in. I'll give you one more thing on the parsha, on the word Miketz. Ketz, this word Miketz, it says in the holy books, Ketz means the end. So Miketz, from the end. That this word Miketz also refers to a verse which says that when Mashiach comes, Ketz Samla Cheshech, that will be an end to darkness. and it will be all only light. So that too is what Chanukah represents, the time of putting an end to all the darkness. And also, specifically, it talks about the end of the days of exile, what's known as Ketz HaYamin or Ketz HaYamim. And in Kabbalah, Chassidus speaks about what the difference is Ketz HaYamin with a nun sofit, Ketz HaYamim with a mem sofit. I think Ketz HaYamin is on the right side, Yamin is on the left side. The other side is the negative end of days, the positive end of the days. The point is to bring it to the time that even the lowest of levels, even places where it's the end of the line, so to speak, to bring the light there, right? And right. There's some say also the exile of Egypt was 190 years. We say it was 212. Right, different versions. 212, right? 400 is ways to Abraham. But then there was also two. But if there's ways to calculate if it's 212 or 190. So Kate's is also the idea of the end of bringing an end to the Galut, to bring the Mashiach time, Messianic times. And this idea of bringing an end, that the bringing that light that we started off earlier speaking about, the hidden light, the light Or Ganus, Or Kitov, the light that's represented also this time of Rosh Chodesh of Tevet, which is when we're starting the new moon is coming out, a new light, the light of Tevet, a good light. And so this is also the time representing that stored original light that will be it says almost it's like it's locked up in a chest up above, and then when Mashiach comes, it'll be open, and that sevenfold or 70-fold, that or infinite light, let's call it, will shine again.